Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to AI for Good, all year, always online. I'm Charlotte Kahn, presenting AI for Good Perspectives. AI for Good is a year-round digital platform where AI innovators and problem owners learn, build, and connect to identify practical AI solutions to advance the UN SDGs. AI for Good Perspectives offer expert insights, global visions, and shared solutions from the AI for Good community. And today, I am delighted to welcome Serge Conesa, founder of Immersion4, which has developed a unique technology to cool electronics, and in particular data centers, using only natural resources. Serge, hello and welcome.
Well, very nice meeting you, and very happy to be on the AI for Good show, which is, I would say, very important because AI is everything as well as data is everything. So basically what Immersion4 has been done is just cooling electronics through liquid. Simple as that. So we don't use air, we don't use water, and obviously any chemicals or any protection which will be needed otherwise. The benefit for the data center owner or for anyone who's having electronics is roughly 80% energy savings because there is no data center, so to speak, infrastructures or data centers as we speak. So we completely changed the paradigm on using a simply said liquid to liquid, which is trademark Immersion4 exchange, in order from the liquid where the electronic is immersed, okay, to be able to cool, okay, using any kind of system, cogeneration, trigeneration, heat pump, in-sink, HVAC, AC, in order to take those calories, either evacuate them or recycle them.
Thank you, Serge. We'll talk about your solution in greater details a little bit later on. But I think it'd be a good idea to spend some time talking about the problem. How polluting are data centers currently?
Well, every industry is polluting everything, but the way we are talking about it is definitely data centers. Data center in 2016 were 5% of the world energy, 3% of the greenhouse, and 626 billion liters of water in the US. 2025, we forecasted to see 20% of the world energy, 10% of the greenhouse, and over 3 trillion liters of water. Of course, that was, so to speak, the elephant, the hidden elephant, I would say, in the room. And sadly, today, the problem that we don't speak, okay, is coming out because when on those time of natural resources scarcities, we see, for example, 84 million liters of water, drinkable water being used by Microsoft in Netherlands, okay, and so on and so forth, okay, not blaming Microsoft, but the entire, I would say, data center industry, because we can do better. And maybe it is time to speak about it, especially when the technology are here from yesterday and not for 2050, like the COP26 is pretending to be. And I'm not sending a message, by the way. So what I'm saying here is we can solve that because just to give an idea, 5% of the world energy is 468 nuclear plants at 1 gigawatts. If we use today, the data center today using Immersion4 technology, we will reduce that at 5% of the world energy, meaning we can save 1,500 nuclear plants at 1 gigawatts. Eco-conservation, people speak in French about sobriété énergétique, others speak about being, I would say, frugal on the energy spending. I said, well, why don't we just put that finger right there? Because each time when we put a finger to someone, there is 5 fingers looking at us. And on that principle, if just do what we'll be using, I would say, Immersion4 technology, well, we can save 1,500 nuclear plants at 1 gigawatt, no CO2 emission, no greenhouse emission, no water consumption. Where electronics doesn't need air and water, we do need air and water. Now, by this being said, what that means, when we know that a nuclear plant costs between 10 years to get out, and today there is only 468 outside available. Imagine tomorrow how much nuclear plant we can save, we can use with that energy. So eco-conservation is the biggest source of energy, okay, that we can today have available as we speak. No need to look for anything else.
Well, that's inspiring and very good news. But going back to AI, as you will understand here, we are huge fans of the technology, especially if used to help solve the world's biggest problems. But we also must face the fact that AI is going to develop, in an exponential way. And so will IoT and automation, etc., analytics, sorry. And therefore, this will consume even more energy. So it's really pressing to find good and sustainable solutions to this problem.
Absolutely. In fact, AI is data. Data is AI. Life of data is about deep learning, machine learning, okay, and data mining, which is what I would say compose AI, so to speak. So when we do AI, we obviously produce data, we use algorithm. And there is two sides of the story. One side is the energetic side of the story. The second side is optimizing, I would say, the algorithm of AI in order to have, I would say, a better search and to use less resources in terms of processing power. So, but we can use, I would say, better algorithm, better things. If we have a data center which is using air or water cooling or liquid to the chip, we don't solve the problem. It is just basically a placebo on the problems. The roots of the problem is how can we immerse completely those electronics, remove the heat component of it by, I would say, having a very frugal system in order to cool those electronics. And for the electronics that, for the heat generated that we cannot, I would say, evacuate because their is too low, okay, we can, I would say, recycle it back into energy. So AI is absolutely crucial because everything is AI, no matter what we want to call it, because for me, AI is a generic term. And within that generic term, it means processing data. And how can we process data the most efficient way? First, we must start at the electronic level. And I'm taking a glass in order to materialize what I'm saying. If you want to cool this glass of water, could be champagne, but let's say water, what do? You're just cooling, I would say, the water itself, or you cool the entire room to cool the water. What makes sense? Cooling the glass. If we cool the glass, we stay in bathing suit, and we're doing some things very fresh. If we cool the entire room, we will become Eskimo, being totally frozen before even the water will be even chilled. Well, if you cool the entire room, it's what a data center is all about. If you cool the water, that's what Immersion4 is all about. So as you can see, the level of effort to cool these electronics into the liquid or in the air is completely different. In the air, you need a massive infrastructure. In the liquid, we just need all DTM system that you can see on my back with, I would say, for example, here an AI server straight into the liquid full of GPUs. Or what you can do is having 4 walls on the roof using Immersion4 system, sealed water loop, and then you collect all the calories through a liquid to liquid exchange. Simple as that.
And Serge, how mature is your technology and who's using it at present?
Well, the technology is mature. Finally, okay, we have 10 years of research. The liquid is absolutely completely stable, 100% biodegradable, no evaporation, no corrosion. We guarantee our solution and the liquid 25 years. And the solution is now, I would say, ready for deployment. We are on a scale-up model. Okay, we have several customers, some of them that I can name, some other that I can't, and I apologize for that, but we have some very well-known operators who give us their biggest router to be cool off, okay, which we did, 77 from 50, the Juniper product. We have a global contract with HP. Solution is also deployed with SNCF, which had been our first customer for now 2 years. And now we have many deployments coming ahead, okay, in the Middle East, as well as, I would say, in the US, with the city of Las Vegas and Stan Young and so on and so forth. So yes, here we are, finally.
And a final question, maybe. Often tech companies are seen as the good guys when it comes to sustainability and pollution. But do you think that there's likely to be a little bit more scrutiny about their activities and how much they are contributing to global warming? And therefore, how urgent is it for them to come up with solutions and the use of technologies like yours?
You know, you're making also a very valid point. Jennifer at the time, and also the people from the ITU, the 2 guys, gave me one day, said, well, you know, Serge, okay, you should be the sustainability company for the ITU. And I said, I love that. In fact, sustainability is everything. Without sustainability, there's absolutely nothing. Your logo is the SDGs. I remember the first time I saw that logo, it was in David Trick at the United Nations and showing me the SDG. I said, what is the SDGs? And he was telling me, he said, oh, well, that's what, and I was saying, that makes sense. We do the 17 goal of the SDGs. That's why you struggled, okay, to say only 5 SDGs from Immersion4. We do the 17, but it makes sense. What the biggest problem is today is greenwashing. And I'm so tired by that. So why don't we tell the truth? If people realize that each time they said, oh, we are working for the company who's doing not something clean, but something which is a greenwashing things, they lie to their own kids. Because this is what we need to understand. Lying to the world, okay, fine, the world is we're living in a bigger world, but you lie to your own children, you lie to their future. Now we're talking about food scarcity, water scarcity. We're talking about global warming. We're talking about it's getting very hot. And now we're talking about energy crisis. And what this is all about, how our civilization will be built. Our civilization is built on energy. 1900, this is when everything started. We should think and understand that, first of all, gas is the fundamental of our industry. Second of all, being and using energy for what matter, it's mandatory. 2 billion plastic bag and 2 billion people, it's okay. Plastic bag with 8 billion people, it is not okay. So we need to recycle. And that's what Immersion4 is all about. Recycling energy and using energy for what matter. Our system is based 100% on recyclable materials. Okay, well, it's nice, but this is not sufficient. What about having the best product built on recyclable material that you don't need to recycle with no obsolescence? Then you can have what you call some kind of an harmony. You know, it's like Indians and buffalo living together. The Indians never kill all the buffalo at once. They kill them over time. When you go in Africa, when you pass a lion, when it's not the time for him to eat, he doesn't eat you because he prefers to eat you alive when the time is good because it will be fresh. Why we don't do some of this principle? Because of money. We forgot what it is an effort to transform a seed to something concrete to be, I would say, ingested by a human being like a tomato or anything else. Well, that's a long story short, but we need to change our behavior and we need to understand that energy doesn't go, like I would say, any kind of system doesn't go to the sky. At some point, there is a limit. Now the limit is reached. In fact, it was reached yesterday. People were talking about 1.5 C global warming. Well, I remember with the UN talking about 3.4, it was 2 years ago. I think I would say many of experts right now are clearly saying the 1.5 is not something realistic, but we just have to look what's happening out there. So what we're going to be doing, because we are all very nice to each other, but with this glass of water, 24 hours, we will be very politely offering the glass to each other. At 48 hours, we're going to kill each other. And today, there is 2.8 billion people who have problems for eating. And there is in 2025, 1.8 billion people who will not have access to clean water. That's the demise of humanity. On the top of that, if we're looking about microparticles, 2.5 microparticles has been finally recognized to be giving cancer and allergies and all those kind of things. Well, we wrote a long time ago, in fact, it was almost at the COVID time in February, that the 2.5 microparticle was used as a Trojan by the COVID-19. We have been published by the ITU in June about that. In October, and now everything is reacting and said, oh my God, microparticles, 2.5 micro are the demise, creating disease. Well, this is well known. That was well known. Who are we as Immersion4 to find out? We just basically look at that. There is people who should be aware and they should be looking at the true answers, okay, on the problem we are facing. Instead of that, we always look at, oh, how can we solve it, but not how the problem has been created. Well, stop producing 2.5 microparticle, which is what humanity is doing right now, and we solve a lot of problems. Let's stop contaminated water. It's another one. Let's use water for what matter. That's another thing. Same things for the seed, same things for the minerals, something, because this is all combined together. While not, I would say, big scientists within Immersion4, we don't pretend to be. We just try to do the best on our market, which is cooling electronics to liquid. But in the same time, we understand the interdependence on what is around impact on air, impact on water, impact on natural resources, and what is the waste in terms of our materials that we are using, as well as in terms of how can we recycle the heat from electronics, which is needed because like 20% of the world energy, it's a lot of energy.
Absolutely.
And we are not going to stop producing data, as you know.
Well, Serge, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today. All the best.
It was a great pleasure. It is at your service any point of time. Again, Charlotte, it was a pleasure to be interviewed by you.
Fantastic. That's it from us at AI for Good Perspectives, all year, always online.